Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins, presumably the opening in a new series of adventure movies. It stars Fred Ward. You may recall him from Time Rider, or as the astronaut Gus Grissom in The Right Stuff. And here, he's a decorated New York cop, an ex-Marine, too, whose death is faked when he's given a new name and recruited by a super-secret organization. So secret, it's known only, in fact, to the president. Remo Williams' mission, which he has no choice but to accept, is to clean up society's slime, as it's called. In other words, to kill on command corrupt officials or others deemed dangerous to national security. Only first, Remo must learn how to kill cleanly and efficiently. And here he gets a lesson in dodging bullets from a strange new teacher. Now, see if you recognize the actor in that role.
Hold it! I don't want to kill you, but I will if I have to.
Well, John, what do you think?
It's very slow. Reflexes are pitiful, poorly coordinated. He's in wretched physical position, impetuous, and clumsy. He moves like a baboon with two club feet. However, there is a feeble glint of promise in his eyes. I think I can do something with him.
Give up. It was Cabaret Oscar winner Joel Grey. Incredible as a Korean martial arts master and almost a mythic character here. Now, later in the story, Remo Williams has been assigned to kill a powerful weapons manufacturer who's been bilking the army out of billions of dollars. Williams has penetrated a secret army proving ground to rub out the arms dealer. But he's been discovered, and in this scene, Remo Williams finds that escaping is not as easy as falling off a log. Williams tries to be sort of a working man's no-frills James Bond. Fred Ward doesn't wear a tuxedo, not even a tie. Probably doesn't own one here. Nor does Remo Williams sip fancy drinks, martinis which are shaken, not stirred, like 007. He's strictly meat and potatoes. Ward, meanwhile, is rather colorless in his role, and the closest he gets to winning the girl is a quick, affectionate nuzzle. Remo Williams is weak on plot, all right, but very strong on stunts, as you saw, and action. As Ward swings from girders, slides down the Statue of Liberty, and hangs from dangling logs, dodging bullets while that stirring theme music blares. Maybe the Bond movies have seen their day. And now, in an age when government spending has been severely cut, even secret agents have to make do without thrills. And even if it's not as glamorous as the Bonds, particularly the early ones, Remo Williams is still pretty entertaining.
Jeffrey, I am surprised at you that you disliked Commando and you liked this. For an action movie, it is painstakingly slow. Every scene goes on too long. The title of the movie, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, I was waiting for two-thirds of the movie for the adventure to begin, but all we get are these training scenes endlessly with Joel Grey.
Michael, that's a fair comment and unfair comment. I didn't hate Commando. Parts of that it got out of hand. As far as this movie is concerned, yes, Joel Grey's character would have been much better, and he's wonderful, had he made only in the beginning part of the movie. They perhaps should have had an Asian-American actor play the role. He's fine, and it should have been the early part of the film. Fred Ward is too colorless. The plot needed something, but there's some very entertaining moments in this movie.
But everything is just held.
It is calculated.
If that film could have been an hour shorter, and it would have been a much more effective
Michael,
film.
I'm giving this a mild yes. You're giving it perhaps a strong no.
A very strong no.
I didn't hate it that much.
Okay, moving on to our next film, Better Off Dead, which this movie would have been, is the name of the latest comedy designed to appeal to the huge youth market, which is part of Hollywood's never-ending quest to separate the 14-year-olds of America from their allowance money. Now, as usual in these films, the major character is a cuddly, mildly eccentric high schooler who is hopelessly infatuated with one of the prettiest girls in his class. This time, the sensitive hero is played by John Cusack, the same young actor who was so good in The Sure Thing and The Journey of Natty Gann. Here, he responds to romantic rejection by contemplating suicide until his mother asks him to join a dinner party already in progress.
Oh, Blaine, where have you been? We've all been waiting for you. You come and sit right down here. Have you met Monique? Now, in honor of our special guest, I've created dinner fondue. First, we have French fries and French dressing and French bread. And to drink, ta-da, Peru.
Jenny Meyer, you really do go to the outer limits to make an impression.
Excusez-moi, où sont les toilettes?
What's that mean?
She wants to use a bathroom. It's down the hall, second door, on the left.
Jennifer, this is fabulous liqueur. Reminds me of the moonshine Ricky's dead pappy used to make.
God bless him.
The movie's just full of that sort of slapstick gag. Now, Monique, the exchange student in the clip, eventually restores John Cusack's will to live. But before she does, his vivid imagination has to provide him with his only comfort. We watch him talking back to cartoon characters he draws on his sketch pad, and even in his after-school job at a greasy hamburger emporium, he lets his fantasies run wild. Can't wait for the rock video, right? Now, as you can see from these snappy singing hamburgers, you do get occasional touches of energy and originality in this film, but they soon sink under the weight of its horrendously hacky plot. Will our underdog hero win his big ski race against the school's most popular jock? Come on! We've seen it all a dozen times before, and the forced attempts at off-the-wall humor can't make up for the prevailing boredom. What's more, with today's real-life epidemic of teenage suicide across the country, I don't think that the hero's attempt to kill himself should be treated as a suitable subject for yucks. The entire film feels like a cartoon, which is only appropriate since the director is a 25-year-old former animator named Savage Steve Holland, honest, whose name, I'm afraid, is more memorable than his work.
Very good point you made about suicide. This movie trivializes teenage suicide, which immediately made me loathe it. Meanwhile, when they made up the word hackneyed, I think in a dictionary it should say, see the movie Better Off Dead. Every single cliche that you can think of these nerdy teenage movies is in this picture.
All the same characters.
Incredibly tedious. They probably promised John Cusack the fact that he could do the movie that he did, The Sure Thing, only if he agreed to do this picture. That's how bad this picture is.
And it wasn't worth it if he agreed to that. Curtis Armstrong, who's in here, plays the same character he played in Revenge of the Nerds and Risky Business. Did much better there. The nerdy best friend is very casual about drug use. The values of this movie are outrageous, and it really shouldn't be seen by anyone.
Totally missable film. Well, on to our next movie, Michael. It's called Silver Bullet, and it's based on a short story from prolific horror writer Stephen King. Now, as you might have guessed by now from the author and the title, this one is about werewolves. It's set in a small town 9 years ago for some reason, where a new minister has just arrived. So has a werewolf who's been chomping unlucky locals to death come each full moon. But a handicapped boy and his sister have discovered who the werewolf is, and the only adult they trust is their grizzled, boozy uncle, Gary Busey. And in this scene, they ask him for help.
Here's how he said he'd check him out. And guess what? No one sees him again.
Well, what do you suggest I do about it?
I want you to turn this into a silver bullet.
You won't let go of it, will you?
Saw what I saw.
Marty, the moon wasn't even full.
In the made-up story, the guy who's the werewolf only changes when the moon is full. But maybe he's like this almost all the time. I mean, as the moon gets fuller, the guy gets bored here. Here. I think he's going to come after me. Not just because I knew who he is, but because I heard him. But I think he'll wait till the moon's all the way full.
It's going right out of your mind.
Will you do it?
Well, as always, Gary Busey is terrific, continually sprouting quotable, colorful phrases above a startling beer belly, I might add. But all through Silver Bullet, it's painfully obvious that the werewolf and the boy will finally have a confrontation. And shortly thereafter, another full moon arrives, and armed with a gun loaded with just a single silver bullet, the trio awaits the werewolf.
You're gonna burn yourself up sometime doing that, Uncle Red. If that would have gone off, that would have been the end of our silver bullet.
This is too much. You guys are going to bed.
But Uncle Red, you said.
I know what I said. But it's 10 to 3 in the morning, and it's not coming.
The moon's not down yet.
Well, it's damn near down. I'm going to sit up the rest of the night with a stupid gun in my lap because I promised not to do that. But you're going to bed, and so are you.
What happens if I say no?
What did you see?
The werewolf.
What did you see?
I was looking at you.
It's okay. Now look, that's all.
I was hoping it was the werewolf outside to get all this over with. Now, in all fairness, I confess I've never been the biggest fan of Stephen King movies, except, of course, for Carrie and perhaps Christine. His pictures all seem to follow the same formula. Fill in the blank is terrorizing a town, and only a fill in the blank can save everyone, so he fill in the blank. You know what I mean? Silver Bullet is momentarily scary, it must be said, but much, much too gory, especially for young moviegoers, the presumed audience here. And the movie is just one long setup for an obvious climax. As for Gary Busey, who's one of the most watchable actors in films these days, he steals Silver Bullet with a performance in a supporting part that is so interesting, it's as if he'd wandered in off the set of another, better movie shooting nearby. That's the movie I wish I'd seen.
The movie I wish I'd seen too, Jeffrey. I think you're right on target with this film. The one thing that can be said for it is the werewolf himself does a nice, credible job. It's a creature created by Carlo Rambaldi, the same man who created E.T., and there's one scene where the minister of the town has a vision, a dreamlike vision of everyone turning into werewolves. It's chilling, and it's beautifully done, but it's only 30 seconds on screen.
And I went through that with American Werewolf in London. Then I had Teen Wolf with a teenage basketball-playing werewolf. Enough of this already. The parents here are depicted as brainless idiots who have no control over the situation. There is not enough suspense. And again, Gary Busey is the supporting character who's the most interesting thing in the movie.
Everything is telegraphed, and one of the reasons for that is the music. I'm so tired of movies with synthesizers going,
Race Under Fire. This woman has guts. It doesn't try to make her Joan of Arc. You've got people involved in the making of this movie who were involved with Gandhi and Serpico. You've got to question of nobility here, but she is a woman who is an average, ordinary woman who becomes great because of the circumstances around her.
But
she makes it relevant.
That's part of the problem why I think the picture doesn't work and it doesn't draw you into it, is because she is too saintly. You never see any flaws in her. You never see a social life. You never see her dating anybody. You never see any problems. She comes across like Gandhi.
I disagree.
And it doesn't work.
I think that would have been an easy trap. I think in this movie we see just an average, ordinary woman. We don't care about her love life. We care about the fact that she's surrounded by a cesspool of corruption, and she rose to greatness. Sissy Spacek may be much better than the movie, but she's one of my favorite actresses, but she is incandescent. The film is stirring and gripping.
The problem is that the cesspool of corruption, particularly with Jeff Daniels, is much more interesting than the Sissy Spacek character.
I love this movie. I'm sorry you missed the point, Mike.
Strongly disagree, Jeffrey.
Well, anyway, October, meanwhile, brings a flock of films to the video stores and the pay cable. Among the new movies released this month is The Karate Kid, a very entertaining movie about a boy who learns to fend off bullies at school with the help of a wise old karate master, played by Oscar-nominated Pat Morita. Kids will love this one.
So you think I stand a chance at the tournament?
Not matter what Miyagi thinks. Miyagi not fighting.
But nobody will love The Jigsaw Man, which stars Laurence Olivier as a British intelligence chief, and here the usually reliable Michael Caine, way off base as a double agent.
Tonight. She's no good to them dead, is she? I mean, she's got a tongue in her head she can explain.
I know it.
And there's Firstborn, a depressing, sobering look at a family in crisis. Terry Garr stars as a divorced mother of two, trying to ease the tension between her son and her new boyfriend.
Excuse me, I am your mother. You don't talk to me that way and act like it.
And finally, for cult fans, there's A Brother from Another Planet, the latest from director John Sayles, about a black alien visitor who tries to understand our society but finds it's not so easy. So, where are you from?
Leading away, meanwhile, with the month's video releases is an opportunity to discover one of the best-kept secrets of 1985. A wonderful film that most people missed when it played in the theaters, and it's just now come out on cassette. It's called Lady Hawk, and it's a lush, romantic, medieval fantasy starring Matthew Broderick and Rutger Hauer about a knight, his lady, and a plucky thief beating an archbishop's evil curse.
I'll gather some wood for the fire.
Unfortunately, the distributors have also unleashed Creature, a low-budget and low-intelligence ripoff of Alien about slimy monsters and brain-sucking outer space demons.
If we're on a research mission, why do we have to have a security officer?
There's also Baby, a pretentious, tear-jerking adventure about a childless husband and wife team of scientists who discover an infant brontosaurus in darkest Africa.
We're looking at 150 million years ago. My God.
And finally, there's the by now classic comedy Ghostbusters. For all of you who enjoyed it 4 and 5 times in the theaters, it's finally come out on video cassette, so you can savor its inspired insanity time and again.
We thought you were someone else.
Summarizing our opinions now on the movies we reviewed this week, I thought Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins was entertaining, if not spectacular. I voted yes, while Michael thought it was slow-moving, if not atrocious. He voted no. But we both voted no on Better Off Dead. Its formula teenage comedy is unfunny and silly, and any 8-year-old of average intelligence can predict every detail of its hackneyed plot. Stephen King's Silver Bullet, meanwhile, proved to be a suspense drama without much suspense. Michael liked the werewolf effects, but disliked the heavy-handed direction, so 2 no's on Silver Bullet. And finally, we split on Marie, a true story about a woman fighting corruption in the Tennessee State House. I found it a sizzling drama, with the title role superbly played, as always, by Sissy Spacek. But Michael, voting no, thought it was dull and two-dimensional, giving the audience little reason to care about the tangled events we see on screen.